Hello everyone, this is Sharia Hossein Imam. We are presenting the chapter Language Processing and Python from SLTK book, which is chapter 1. So Python is a very interesting programming language which have number of advantages. So one of Python friendlier feature is that you can enter straight into the interactive interpreter, which is application that will run your Python scripts. So another portion. So the next portion of first segment is NLTK. NLTK basically an IDE. So before going further, you should install NLTK 3.0 environment, and then we can work with Python counting. So what is Python? Python is basically a programming language which is very user friendly. So we can by using Python we can easily searching text from a large text data. We can find our exact data which we want to get. Then we can count the vocabulary, how many words it is, how many occurrence it is happened by the given search. So next, the second portion, we can see that it is briefly give the closer look at Python. So what is the benefits of Python and what we are working with the Python. So in Python programming language, we are basically when in terms of text data, we basically find them in the find and separate them in the list format. So list is basically lists are used to store multiple items in a single variable. So lists are one of 4 built-in data types in Python used to source collection of data. Other than 3 are tuple, set, and dictionary. So then giving in this book, after giving the definition of list, they actually focusing on indexing list. So indexing means the position where the text or the search text was stored, in which position. It is basically started from 0 to n up to n position. So then when it comes to variable, the ability to refer to a book with a short name that is 250,000 words long has been made possible by the start of access to book called text1, text2, and more. Assignment in Python is process of evaluating expression and saving result to a variables. So the 2.4 portion, it is basically focusing on the operation, string operation. String is as we discussed earlier, string is a data type which basically stores text data, or string is special types of data which is basically known as words. So in strings, without listing, we can also use sum of methods with access to the elements in the list, also work individual words or strings. Some familiar function of string is capitalize, Capitalize basically converts the first character to uppercase, then case fold converts string into lowercase, then center function returns centered string, then counts is the number of times specified the value occurs in the string, then encode ends with returns true with the string ends with the specific value. So expand tabs, finds, format, index. So basically a number of function which is used in strings. It can also used in list. So these are the advantage of using Python when you work with NLP. NLP means natural language processing. Basically the language is the text data, and if it is a text data, it is very useful to use Python to extract the data and their features. So this is from mine. The next member will discuss about the following sections 3, 4 and 5.
Thank you, Shahriar Hussain Imon. This is me, Allama Bukhtiyar Nafis. Now we'll cover the part 3, computing with language. Computing with language is a crucial aspect of natural language processing, which involves using computational techniques to process and analyze human language. There are several key techniques in computing with language, including frequency distribution, fine-grained selection of words, collections and bigrams, and computing other things. Frequency distribution involves counting the number of times each word appears in a given text. This technique allows us to identify the most common words in a text, which can provide insight into the subject matter and style of writing. Additionally, frequency distribution can be used to compare the uses of different words in different texts or to track changes in language uses over time. Fine-grained selection of words involves identifying specific features of words, such as their part of speech, tense, or semantic category. These techniques allows us to analyze the language in more detail and to make more precise conclusions about the meaning and structure of a text. Collections and bigrams involve grouping words together based on their proximity to each other in a text. A collection is a set of words that appear in a particular order, while a bigram is a collection of two consecutive words. This technique can be used to identify patterns of language uses and to generate predictions about the next word in a text. Finally, counting other things involves using computational techniques to analyze aspects of language other than words, such as sentence length, punctuation uses, or the frequency of specific grammatical structure. This technique can provide insight into the structure and style of a text and can be used to compare different texts or track changes in language uses over time. In conclusion, computing with language is a crucial aspect of natural language processing that involves using computational techniques to analyze and process human language. Techniques such as frequency distribution, fine-grained selection of words, collections and bigrams, and counting other things can provide valuable insight into the structure, style, and meaning of text and can be used to make predictions about language uses and to track changes over time. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Rizwana Chaudhary Raka. Today I'm going to cover the part making decision and taking controls, which have several parts, and I'll be discussing each of them sequentially. So first, let's start with conditionals. Conditionals are statements that allow your code to make decisions based on certain conditions. You can use if-else statements to execute different blocks of code based on whether a certain condition is true or false. This is a powerful tool that enables your code to respond to different situations dynamically. For example, you can use conditionals to check if a certain input is valid or not and take different actions accordingly. Next, let's talk about operating on every element. This concept is particularly useful when working with arrays or lists. You can use loops to iterate through every element in an array and perform the same operation on each one. This saves you a lot of time and helps you avoid repetitive code. For example, we can use a for loop to calculate the average of all the elements in an array. Now let's move on the next part, that is nested code blocks. Sometimes you need to execute a block of code only if another block of code has been executed successfully. This is where nested code blocks come in handy. You can use nested if-else statements to create a chain of conditions that your code needs to satisfy before executing a particular block of code. This helps you ensure that your code is running as expected and avoids potential errors. Finally, looping with conditionals is a powerful combination of the two concepts we just discussed. You can use loops to iterate through every element in an array and use conditionals to execute different blocks of code based on certain conditions. For example, you can use a while loop to iterate through an array and check if a certain condition is true or false. If the condition is true, you can execute a particular block of code, and if it's false, you can move on to the next element in the array. In conclusion, these four programming concepts are essential for making decisions and taking control in your code. By mastering conditionals, operating on every element, nested code blocks, and looping with conditionals, you can create robust and dynamic programs that respond to different situations and avoid potential errors. Thank you.
Hello, this is Param Gyunegi and I'll be talking about the automated natural language understanding in the process of enabling machine to comprehend and interrupt human language. This involves several tasks including word sentence embedding, pronoun resolution, generating language output, machine translation, spoken dialogue system, textual enumeration, and some limitation of NLP. Word sentence disambiguation is the process of defining the meaning of word within a sentence that have multiple interactions. For instance, the word bank can refer to a financial institution or riverbank. NLU system use contextual information to determine the intended meaning of word. Pronoun resolution involves identifying the noun that a pronoun refers to. For example, in the sentence, John gave the book to Mary because she asked for it. The NLU system must identify she refers to Mary. Generating language output is the process of producing text that is grammatically correct and semantically meaningful. This involves various subtasks such as text generation, summarization, and paraphrasing. Machine translation is the process of translating text from one language to another. NLU system use statistical and rule-based approach to convert text into another language. Spoken dialogue systems are used to interact with humans in natural language. These systems use speech recognition and synthesis technologies to understand and respond to human speech. Textual entailment is the process of determining whether one statement logically follows from another. For example, if the statement John is a bachelor is true, then the statement John is married would be false. Finally, there are some limitations to NLU systems. This includes difficulties in handling slang, idioms, and metaphors, as well as variations in language uses with different region and culture. In conclusion, automated natural language understanding is a complex and important field that have many practical implications. As technology continues to improve, we can impact NLU system to become more and more sophisticated and effective in every year to come. Thank you.